Ladakh has a surreal beauty that fascinates and allures everyone. The monasteries in the Ladakh have a remarkable history and a sparkling heritage too. One such window to the past is the monastery of Nyarma Stupa. Founded by the great translator Rinchen Zangpo in 1000 AD, Nyarma was built close to the seat of secular power at She. Nyarma was the earliest temple complex set up by the Tibetan dynasty that had taken over the three regions of Upper West Tibet, including Ladakh, in the first half of the 10th century. It was the center of the Buddhist faith in Upper Ladakh under the influence of kings of Gyug and Purang. These kings of Western Tibet were the most significant and influential patrons of the renewal of Buddhism in Tibet. Margyul region and Nyarma Stupa was the main center of Buddhist activity around the first millennium. It remained the Tibetan dynasty's steady religious seat until these rulers lost control of Ladakh during the first half of the 12th century. Fate can be baffling, and Nyarma, the most ancient temple complex built by the early Tibetan rulers in Ladakh, lies in ruins today. While the lack of artifacts of the historical significance has caused a lack of interest in the field research at Nyarma by historians and art historians, however, the site is still important in terms of architectural conceptualization. The architectural plan of Nyarma represents the ideal order of the mandala. It consists of 5 temples and more than a dozen of stupas. It was once surrounded by an almost rectangular wall which had turned the complex into compound or a sacred enclosure. Its current state of condition is probably due to the fact that the roof of the temple was taken away about 150 years ago. There is evidence that it had been taken away by local people to recycle the wooden parts of the constructions, probably after the compound had severely suffered irreparably from the Muslim Dogra invaders. Since then, all the remaining decorative art pieces, such as murals, votives, stupas, and sculptures, have been exposed to wind and weather and slowly faded away. As a result, today, only the remains of halos are left in the former assembly hall of the main temple. Some murals, though, could survive inside a stupa in the western part of the compound. These are the only survivors of the former art of Nyarma. Outside the compound, several rows and groups of stupas can be found. A small hermitage claims a spectacular position of the western hills. It is surrounded by a stupa wall. In the northern of the compound, the ruins of a castle are a reminder of the times of wars and ongoing invasions, which finally caused the eclipse of those Buddhist sites which had been built in a situation difficult to defend, such as the case of Nyarma. Despite all the changes, the site of Nyarma still provides a lot of critical information for understanding the architecture and spatial conceptualization of the early phase of Tantric Buddhism. If we care for an episode of utmost importance in the history of Ladakh, marked by the beginning of Tibetan Buddhism in the region, then we must preserve the little that is left of Nyarma, or else nothing of this crucially important temple complex will remain but a few extant, bare, broken walls.